Hi, Faith.
Hello.
Do you have anything you need to talk about?
No, I just thought it'd be a good idea to join class early. Is that okay?
It's fine. It's fine. I just that the whole reason for my coming in half an hour early is to do like office meeting stuff. Like if you have any questions. So there's no real need for you to get in here until 5:30. I promise that I won't start anything early.
All right. Well,
Is that, no,
I'll keep company for now.
It's up to you. Omar, how you doing?
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I was having a hard time. I couldn't find the link for the Zoom.
Omar, I just put it up.
No. You just sent it to me. But before that, I was trying and then I couldn't find it.
Omar, I send it right before I come on the air. I don't send it early. Okay.
Oh, okay. I see. What time does this class start?
Well, I have office hours from 5 to 5:30, and the actual class starts from 5:30 to 6:45.
Oh, I thought this class starts at 5, so I was freaking out.
No. There's no reason to freak out. The only reason I'm here is if you guys have any questions on anything.
Actually, yeah, regarding that assignment, let me see what was the name of it. 1 second, please. We had an assignment. I was just checking. 1 second, let me find it and then I'll let you know.
No problem. Is it in my lab and mastering, Omar?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll double check because I'm not sure.
Okay. Unfortunately, I got to get out of my Airbnb that I was searching for. Okay. So
It's called The Actual Hunt.
Oh, is that what you want?
Yeah.
So,
is that an assignment that's due?
Yes, it's your discussion for this week.
Oh, okay.
All you got to do is answer those 10 questions. All right. If you really want to play the game, what you do is you search through the original questions. Okay. And you try and find out which person in the class matches that description the best. Okay, Omar?
So we're going to be using the students in the class.
You're going to be using the answers for the students in the class to answer the questions I just gave you. For example, one of the questions I asked you in the first set of questions was, what was the first movie you ever remember seeing? Do you remember that, Omar?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'm using that to infer who the oldest person in the class is.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense to you, Omar?
I'm going to go look at that assignment, at that discussion we did. And then based on that, I'm going to be able to find the answers.
All right. That sounds good, Omar.
Thank you. Also, one more thing. Do I have to purchase my lab? I didn't know if we're gonna be using it.
The lab book, the experimental book,
Do I need the book, or can I just get the ebook with the lab instead?
if you're talking specifically about the lab, you can access every experiment in the laboratory. You do not have to buy the book.
Okay, like for my math, or not my math. It's Pearson for Pearson.
Wait, different circumstance, Omar. When you're talking Pearson, you are not talking the lab. I do not believe that Pearson published that lab manual. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they did.
So I'm actually taking my my chemistry lab with a different professor.
Ah,
But what I
Okay.
mean for this class, do I need to get Pearson lab?
okay. Wait. We're taught you are taking lab with a different teacher, and they're making a different requirement than my classes are. My classes, everything is online. So your teacher's making you buy a laboratory book.
Right, but for this class, we don't have to get anything like for books or anything.
Well, Omar, it's a good idea to get the book as a reference material. I'm going to go over everything I test you on, and everything I test you on is going to be in the PowerPoints, but it's always a good idea. I'm never going to tell you not to buy the book. Okay?
I see.
Can you get by without it? Yeah. Yeah, you can. Between the PowerPoints and the videos, yes, you can get by without it.
I see. But we don't use Pearson for this class.
Yes, you do. You
Oh.
use Pearson's My Lab and Mastering. That is the homework assignment. You have to go on, buy a code, and you're getting a little behind here, Omar. You need to do that ASAP because the first assignment, the first real assignment is due, I believe, on Thursday.
Oh, on Pearson, I didn't know.
I'm sorry, Omar, I've been been making this statement over and over again. You have to buy the code into Pearson. That's going to entail going to the home page of the course in my courses. Once you're on the home page, if you scroll down to the bottom, over to the left, there is a little icon that says My Lab and Mastering. Let me see if I can.
I see.
Yeah.
I've been following. So I got to this and it asked me here to register with Pearson.
Yes.
So it's asking me if I want to do the e-textbook or without. But you
That-
said
I believe that the e-textbook is going to cost you some more money.
correct.
Okay. So
But
that's your choice. It depends upon how you learn this stuff. If you're more of a person that reads and is able to get things that way, God bless you. I can't do it. I have to have somebody sit there and in front of me so that I can understand things. I can't understand. My understanding through direct reading is not that good. But
I
other
see.
people, that's the way they learn.
Well, I should start on this and then see
You
my
need,
time.
Omar, that is the thing you need to do right now. ASAP. You need to get into Pearson, get your code, and start the homework. Now, Omar,
Yes.
if you don't get the homework done by Thursday, it's 5% penalty per day down to 80%. That means after the fourth day, it's going to be at 80%. It won't go any lower than that, but you've already sacrificed those points. Does that make sense to you, Omar?
Makes sense.
Okay. Anything else? Things else? Faith, things going good for you? Faith has gone away from me for a while. She's taken my advice and flown the coop for the last 15 minutes, and she'll not be back until 5:30, right, Faith?
Yeah, totally.
Are you doing okay with this? Are you assimilating to the course okay?
Yeah, I have access to the My Lab and I did the homework in advance. I'm just figuring out the actual hunt. I can't pull up other people's answers for the scavenger hunt.
You can't pull those up?
I'm trying to, but it doesn't seem like I can. I tried clicking on it through the forums page, and it's a gray hyperlink, so it won't take me to anything.
Okay, I may have zapped that out for you guys. If that's the case, that it's on me. I may have shut the conversation down. And I basically forgot that you need that to continue on. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to go into submission review. I'm going to go into discussions. And I'm going to go down. Actually, before today, you didn't even have. Okay, find out about your peers. Edit topic. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Restrictions. See, these things work out. Yep. Okay. Now, Faith?
Yeah.
You have access to your computer?
Yes, I'm doing this through my iPad, so.
Okay, so if you're on your iPad, I want you to go refresh the course.
All right. It's
And when-
still gray.
It's still okay. All right. Okay, we're going to edit forum. Restrictions. Let's see if this works. Now try it.
All right. I can see it now.
Okay, I knew what I did. Basically, what happened, Faith, is I didn't want you guys to keep on answering those questions because right now it's a moot point. I've already taken who's answered them. Okay, so I shut it off, but I forgot that you guys need those answers to answer the other questions.
All right.
Okay,
I'm
so-
glad we could figure that out.
All right, Faith. What's your last name, Faith?
Patterson.
Faith, you have a extra credit point for pointing out
Thank you.
Something I did stupid.
Everybody.
Everybody else that's in here, we got Hunter, Kaylin, and Rosina. You having any problems? Remember, we're in early because this is my office hours. This is kind of when we discuss problems. Anybody do anything stupid like study over break? Nice to know. I've got crickets out here, guys. Hunter,
Mr. P, this
Hello.
is Rosina.
Hi,
Hey.
Rosina. Did you get my
Thank you so much
messages?
for allowing me access to the actual hunt. So I will look into that, but I don't have access to the original discussion.
Try it now.
First discussion post. So I
Try
don't know
it-
who posted
No,
what.
Rosina, try it now.
Again, okay.
Faith just pointed out that I had closed it off. And
Okay.
what I meant was I didn't want anybody to do anything after that time on that same assignment, but I forgot that you guys needed the answers to answer the hunt. Okay?
Okay. So it wasn't just me. So that's
No,
good.
it wasn't just you.
The other was that today, are you going to go over chemical change versus physical change again?
No. Rosina, I've already gone out. That's okay. Rosina, are you in lab?
I am in lab, yes.
Okay. Let me suggest something to you. I'm going to suggest that you wait until after lab. If you're still confused after lab, then come to see me. Okay?
I'm
There are-
not in your lab. I'm in somebody else's lab. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Whose lab are you in, Rosina?
I believe it's Professor Wu.
Okay, Professor Wu's going to be doing the same lab that I am. Okay?
Okay.
There are four aspects that we're talking about when we're doing physical change, physical property, chemical change, chemical property. Does that make sense? Four
Yeah.
things. Physical property is what makes it what it is. Okay? Paper has a rather smooth surface to it. Paper can be torn. Okay? Paper can be folded. All physical properties of paper. If I have copper, I can take copper, stretch it out. Okay? This is what makes copper, part of what makes copper, copper. It's one of the characteristics of it. So that's what the property is. All right? A physical change is actually doing it. If you say paper can be folded, then you actually do the folding. Then, like this, you take a piece of paper, fold it. It's undergone physical change. Take it, tear it, it's undergone physical change. Each one of these pieces is paper. Has the same property as the original did, except it's not as big. Okay, that's the property. Change is when you actually physically do something to make it different in appearance. All right,
I
chemical
guess where I'm getting confused, Professor, is when it comes to dissolving and when it comes to changing color. So given that you
Okay.
said physical properties are ones that we can use our senses and we can figure them out. So if something is getting dissolved, like one of the experiments was that there was a yellow colored substance which dissolved in water and it made a white colored water. Yellow colored water.
Okay. All right. You've actually, have you gone ahead, Rosina? Have you looked at the lab beforehand? Or have you had the lab already?
Yeah.
You had
There were recorded videos that we were supposed to see.
Okay. No problem. Okay. The difference there. What color were the crystals when you began?
Yellow.
What color was the water?
Transparent.
Okay. Put them
Yep.
together. They turned out to be yellow. You didn't turn the water yellow. The crystals mixed in with the water are still yellow. If you evaporate that solution down, you're going to get the yellow crystals back.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right. One of the other experiments, okay, you take potassium chromate, which is a yellow liquid, right? And you mix it with a clear liquid, okay? Now you mix them both together, you get a yellow solid. Now you got to think the properties of what's going on. Beforehand, I had two solutions that both dissolved in water. Afterwards, one of them had the property that it didn't dissolve in water. So it had different properties. Because it had different properties than what you began with, you had to have undergone some sort of chemical reaction. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So the second experiment basically cannot be undone.
Correct. Well, it can be undone, but you have to use chemical means to undo it.
Professor,
Yes, Omar.
so I was trying to purchase my lab, but it wouldn't let me go forward. I'm not sure why.
I don't know either, Omar. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to understand that Pearson knows their software better than I do. If I go and try and intercede for you, Omar, what's going to happen is you're going to get a layer of interpretation between the people that are trying to fix the issue and you, and that would be me.
No, I'm just saying this because I don't want to be late for my assignment at the same time.
Okay, well, Omar, I've already given you a week to get this, okay? So you got to get on it ASAP.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I don't know. I understand you're trying.
I
But
just want to give you like a further notice in case it didn't work.
no problem, Omar. But you have to realize that these things happen, and you got to get this right away. All right.
No, I will. I will.
Anybody else have any questions while we're still in office hour time?
I have a question about
Who's I'm?
Chase.
Hi, Chase.
I have a question about the quiz we took. I didn't understand the last question. I think it really just messed me up because you said it was a trick question.
God help
I didn't
me.
know.
God
It felt
help
like
me.
you were like. It felt like you were triple reverse psychologying me. Like, I was like,
I'm sorry. Here I am. Here I'm going all out, telling you that you got to look at the question carefully, and then you go and be too careful on it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at it. Questions. The quizzes are all in, so, or actually, it's still open, but you're gonna have to do real good to get on there now. You got 4 minutes left to go. If you haven't done it. Chase, what's your last name?
Glenn, Glenn.
Okay. I love this thing. Okay, so you got 8 out of 10. It is a trick question. What do the significant rules, Chase?
Was that?
What do the significant rules say about multiplication?
It has to be rounded
Yep.
to the nearest.
Yes, it does. I'm sorry. I'm going back and forth here. All right. What happened is, I believe the first number was 1 million or something like that.
It was 1,142,000, I think. That was like the answer you got in the calculator when you.
Okay. Yes, that's exactly true.
Mhm.
But you're dividing 1 million by what is it? 9,000 something.
It's like 0.9998 something.
I'm multiplying it then, correct?
I didn't think so.
Okay.
It's division.
It's division. I'm dividing it by 0.99999. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. What, Chase, I want you to, right now, I'm frozen out of where I was. Okay, so I want you to describe the question as it appears.
So it was a word question, and it was pretty much 1 million divided by 0.9998, and then there was a few other digits after that.
No
and when you
problem.
divided them
problem.
together,
Okay.
that
You-
1,140 or 30 something.
Okay, but Chase, what is the rule? And we're going to go over this momentarily. What is the rule for multiply?
You
If-
round to the nearest.
If you go by the number of significant figures that your factors have that are the least. And what I mean by that, 1 million has how many significant figures, Chase?
6.
No,
1.
there was not a decimal point at the end. All those zeros to the right of the 1 are not significant. In 1 million with no decimal point, there's only one significant figure. All right?
So the answer would have just been 1 million.
Yes. Basically what happens is you divide 1 million by 0.999998. It doesn't matter how many digits you take that 0.99998 out to, you're still restricted by the fact that the 1 million has one significant figure. And the rules for multiplication are you use the factor with the least amount of significant figures. In this case, it was 1 million with one significant figure. The final answer has to have one significant figure. So that whole thing gets rounded up to get 1 million back. I know it sounds absurd. It sounds absurd that you actually divide a number by another number and get the first number back. But
Mhm.
what you're really doing is you're saying that that division isn't significant. Aren't you almost dividing that number by 1? A number real close to 1, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a number that's real close to 1, then since your 1 million only has one significant figure, you get that answer back.
Okay. Also, just this is just a quick question. The screw question. I also got that one wrong. What's the difference between 5.10 and 5.1? Aren't those the
Because,
same thing?
all right, you always need an estimated digit when you're doing any measurement. If you're given a measurement, every measurement that you're given, the last digit to the right is an estimated digit 100% of the time. So you have to figure out what you know, and then from what you know, you have to go one more decimal place to the right. In that particular picture, the little numbers, not little numbers, but the little slashes in between the 5 and the 6, each one of those little slashes is worth 1/10 of a centimeter. So we can measure it out. We know it out to 5.1. You have to do one more measurement. You have to do one more estimation to the next decimal place in order to get a correct number. Okay? Real quick, any more questions?
I have one. It's about the scavenger hunt that you assigned. We need to be able to see the.
Good. Elizabeth, it's already been pointed out. If you, sometime when you get bored during this lecture, if you want to go in and try it out, it does work. I've had it confirmed by Faith.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was basically, I didn't want you to answer those questions anymore, so I shut it off, not realizing that you needed those answers to answer the other ones. That's what happened. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yeah, come on. Yes, you know you want to do it. Okay. Can you hear it? No. Sorry. I have to hit a button before this will work. Tell me if you're hearing it. Are you hearing it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
When you take a measurement, what makes it significant? The numbers that you measure are the ones that you should treasure. When rounding answers off with math, sig figs can be the easy path. However, can you see? I see how many sig figs that there be. Here's a way for you to tell. It's better than a magic spell. So pay attention to the words, and it won't seem quite as absurd. Like me saying word. If your measurement is smaller than the number 1, finding out the sig figs can be a lot of fun. Find the first non-zero that's on the leftward side. From that place on to the right, they're all sig figs. What a ride. 0.00350 has 3 sig figs, starting from the 3 and going all the way to the end. If your measurement is bigger than the number 1, start with the first digit, your counting's just begun. Go right to the last integer or a line over a 0, or look for a decimal decimal point, you're a sig fig hero. 1,300 has 2 sig figs. 1,300 with a line over the tens place has 3 sig figs. And 1,300 with a decimal point has 4 sig figs. In a number that is bigger than the number 1, the zeros on the end could be placeholders, son. If there's nothing on those zeros to tell us different, then the zeros are placeholders. I think that's what I meant. A line over a zero tells us where the sig figs stop. Unless it's in the units place, then a decimal point you'll pop. And now it's time to hear the rule. Please put on your wigs. Bigger than 1 with a decimal point. They're all sig figs.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey. Yeah, even I can be hip. Oh, no, stop.
I feel like I know
May I have a
less.
quick question?
Yes.
Can you explain the last thing that they were said, like if it's bigger than 1?
Okay. I'm going to explain it a little bit different from that, but what he's basically saying, if it's bigger than 1, in other words, if it's bigger than the number 1.
So like 2.0 something something.
Okay, yes. If it is bigger than the number 1, then you have to pay attention to zeros. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to break it down a little better than he did, I think. But what you're dealing with significant figures is if it is a number bigger than 1 and there's no decimal, and there are zeros off to the right, those are placeholders. Those are not significant digits. Mila, do you mind just waiting for a few minutes and let me go through my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Trust me, it will confuse you a lot less.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
At least I'm significantly hoping that it will confuse you a lot less. Are we seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I have no idea why this is in. Go away. Okay. Go away. Thank you. All right, slideshow from the current slide. All right. From the current slide, come on. You're seeing the slideshow, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
finest kind. We're going to get into the rules for significant figures. We're going to show how to multiply sig figs. We're going to show how to add them. We're going to show the rules for rounding. Then we're going to also bring in exact numbers. And we're going to talk a little bit about scientific notation in this PowerPoint production. Rules. Non-zero integers. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Digits. All digits are significant. So if you have 3,456, that has 4 significant figures. There are 3 classes of zeros. So with significant figures, if it's a digit, it's definitely a significant figure. Now you got to deal with zeros. There are 3 different kinds of zeros. Leading zeros. A leading zero is 1 to the left of the first digit. Leading zeros are never significant. So if we have 0, stop it. If we have 0.048, I have 2 zeros to the left of my first digit, which is the 4. Those 2 zeros are not significant. 0.048 has 2 significant figures. And I have another example, 0.102. Again, the 0 to the left of the first digit, which is the 1, is not significant. 0.001, all those zeros are to the left of the first digit. They're all not significant. So it has only 1 significant figure. If you have a captive zero is a zero between two digits. Those always are significant. So if I have 16.07, that zeros between the 6 and the 7, it is significant. 16.07 has 4. 0.1505 has 4. Notice the 0 between the two 5s is significant, but the 1 to the left of the 1 is not. Trailing. This is where we get into the problem. The zeros to the left of the number are always not significant. The zeros that are captured are always significant. This is an either or for trailing zeros. Trailing zeros are the zeros to the right of the last digit. Trailing zeros are significant only if the number contains a decimal point. So if I have 9.300, that has a decimal point, the two zeros to the right are significant. On the other hand, 1500, there's no decimal point. The two zeros to the right of the 5 are not significant. 1500 without a decimal point, 2 sig figs. If I put a decimal point down there, what that does by this rule is that says, okay, you've now made those two zeros significant. So 1500 with a decimal point has 4 significant figures. 0.00300, 2 zeros to the right of the last 3. It has a decimal point. It has 3 significant figures. Questions, guys? These are the rules. This is what we're going to base everything on.
Hey, Professor,
Yes.
I don't understand the 0.00300. I kind of got lost on that because you said it only has 3 significant figures. So where are we counting? The 3 zeros behind the 3 or before? I just got confused on that.
Okay, no. You see, do you see? All right, we have 2 different types of zeros. We have zeros on the left. There are zeros to the left of me, zeros to the right of me. There are zeros on the left of the 3. There are zeros on the right, correct? All right, the zeros to the left are leading zeros. Leading zeros are never significant. So if we're starting to write this number out, 0.003, those numbers, the 0.00, not significant because they're leading. On the other hand, I have 0.00300. The 2 zeros to the right of the last 3 are significant because they're trailing and it has a decimal point. Who's asking the question?
Gabe.
Gabe?
Yes.
Gabe, yes, that's the reason. Are we good?
Yeah. So the zeros to the right after the number 3 is considered the significant figures. So now are we utilizing the number 3 as part of the 3 sigs?
Yes. Yes. We're going to use, if we're multiplying that number 0.00300, I'm going to use the fact that those last 2 zeros are significant to count out the number of significant figures it has.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. If you have something called an exact number, I believe I alluded to this last Thursday. If you have an exact number, it has an infinite number of significant figures. Because let's think about this. How many months are there in a year? Terry, how many months are there in a year?
12.
Is that 12.0? Would you agree it's 12.0?
Yes, sir.
12.00?
You could keep going on and
You
on
can
infinitely.
keep on going on and on. So what this means for you is when we go to do math problems, if you have an exact number, don't use it in determining significant figures. Okay? We get exact numbers by one of 2 ways. by counting. If I have 9 pencils, I have exactly 9 pencils. Okay, so it's by counting. The other way is an exact conversion factor. There are exactly 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. There are exactly 100 centimeters in a meter. So if you're doing conversion, we're going to get into dimensional analysis today. When we go through and do those numbers, and we're looking to see what our final number of significant figures are, if we have an exact number somewhere in that conversion, it doesn't count for sig figs. All the other numbers do, but the exact numbers don't. Questions so far? All right, I'm going to go through the easy operation first, then we're going to get into the tougher one. For multiplication or division, the number of significant figures in the answer is going to be the same as your factor with the least. So what do I mean by that? I'm taking this number, 1.342. How many significant figures does that have, Mila? Mila, how many significant figures does 1.342 have?
3.
How many
Or
numbers should it have? 4.
4.
It has 4. Okay.
I wasn't sure if that greater than 1 meant like only the one on the left as opposed to the decimal, but okay.
No, you count all of them.
Yeah, okay.
The decimal only means that the trail, in terms of significant figures, that decimal only means that trailing zeros are significant. So we have 4 significant figures for the first factor. We have 2 for the second. By this rule, it says that my answer should only have 2. All right, so you do the math out. You do the math out. You multiply 1.342 by 5.5. The answer you get on your handy little calculator is 7.381. But you just said that you can only report out 2 significant figures. So what you have to do is you have to multiply the number roughly like this. Then you start from the left and you go right. You have to count 2 places. I count this place, the 7, and I count the 3. That 0.3 is the last place, then I can report out. But I can't just leave it like that. I got to look just to the right of the 3, just to the right of the 3. That number is greater than 5. If the number is 5 or greater, round up. If the number is less than 5, round down. So I have 4 sig figs by 2 sig figs. I got the rough answer. I know that my final answer has to be 2 sig figs. So I look at my number, start from the left, go to the right. I count 2 places. That's how many I can report out. Question.
I have a question. Why does it have to be 2 significant figures for the final?
Because, Hunter, this number is limiting you.
Yes.
Okay. That number takes you, you're off running, you're sprinting like you want to report out all the numbers you can. This number right here grabs you by the collar and you do a cartoon flop down to the ground. Okay.
Okay. So we're going with whatever in that measurement has the smallest amount of sig figures. The final answer is going to be, how many significant figures are in that one. So if it's
Hunter, if you are doing multiplication or division, what you just said was true.
Okay. Okay.
If you're doing multiplication or division, that is true. Addition has different rules, and we'll get to them in a second. So I'm looking at I'm doing my second calculation. I'm taking 65.543, multiplying that by 14.6, and then I'm going to divide that by 3.634.
So this one will have 3 significant figures. Why,
Andrew?
Because the smaller number. How
How many does this one have? How many does the 66 have?
5.
How many does the 3.6 have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. And the 14.6?
3.
All the operations, the only operations I'm doing here are multiplication or division. So therefore, my final answer has to be reported out to the same number of significant figures as my factor with the least. My factor with the least was 3. So my final answer, again, I am going to do the rough math out. I am going to count over from the left. I am going to count the 2, the 6, and the 7. Those are going to stay in because those are my 3 significant figures that I can report out. I then look to my right. That number is less than 5. It rounds down to 267.
Now that rule of like the lowest, that goes for both multiplication and division.
Multiplication and division, yes. Addition and subtraction are different.
Okay.
Again, sorry, I'm not seeing everybody, so
And then I'm sorry, just one more question. On that one, because it was like a 2-part math problem, multiply and then divide. Would you, if you were like mentally doing it and writing down the steps, would you wait until the very end to get your sig figs like answer?
to get the very best answer you can, yes, Mila, that's the way you do it. You wait till the very end. You figure out how many significant figures you should have. You do all
And then
the
just work it
operations.
out.
Yes.
Okay.
However, if you do it the other way, I won't mark you wrong.
Okay.
If you take this number, if you take the 66.543 times the 14.6,
Well, I
round
just
up,
did it that way, and it's like only the decimals. Like the answer I got was 267.198679 as opposed to your 343.
yeah, Mila, but the problem is sometimes it will be a difference. Okay.
Yeah, like if there's more sig figs, then the numbers would have been off.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So bottom line, what you should do is you should look at the entire operation, figure out how many sig figs you need to have in your final answer.
Okay.
Then do the math roughly. And from the rough math, determine what the final answer should be based upon the number of significant figures you can report out. However, if you do it like in stepwise, you take this times this, you get a number that's in 3 sig figs. Then you divide that number that was in 3 sig figs by one that was in 4. Your final answer is still going to have 3 sig figs.
Yeah.
But it may be off a little bit from the other answer.
Yeah.
Bad. Okay, so Aya, you out there, Aya?
Yes.
Okay, we have another problem up here. 4.5 times 0.200. How many significant figures, Aya, does 4.5 have?
2.
How many does 0.200 have?
3.
3. So we're doing multiplication. How many significant figures is my final answer going to have?
2.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Different operation. When we're doing addition or subtraction, the limiting term is the one with the least number of decimal places. In other words, the number that goes to the right the least. Okay, if I'm adding these two numbers up, I have 23.445. That goes out 3 places past the decimal. To that, I'm adding 7.83. The 7.83 only goes 2 places past the decimal. Therefore, since the 7.83 only went 2 places, it's not as precise a number. So my answer can only be as precise as my least precise number. Looking at this, 0.783 only goes out to the hundredths place. So my answer can only go out to the hundredths place. I add the numbers up, I get 31.28. My addition says that I can only have significant figures until I reach the hundredths place of the number. The hundredths place right now is occupied by a 7. I look just to the right. Just to the right, there's a number that is 5 or higher. So I have to round up. So my correct number should be 31.28. Are we good with this?
Does that a rule
Yes.
apply to subtraction also?
Yes. Addition and subtraction as well. Gate,
Yes.
okay? Do you see 450? This 0 is not significant. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So my last significant figure in 450 comes in the tens places, the 50 part. Does that make sense, Gate?
Yes.
All right. Now, to that number, I am adding 27.5. This is precise all the way out, 2 places past where the 450 is. Does that make sense, Gate?
Yeah.
All right. So I add these 2 numbers together and I end up with 477.5. But since the 450 was only precise to the tens place, my answer can only be precise to the tens place. So my 477.5, I can only report out to the tens place. This means that the 47, that's the first 7, is the last significant figure I can report out. I look directly to the right. Directly to the right is a 7. I have to round up to 480.
How do you know the 450 is precise to the 10th place?
Yeah, I'm confused on that one. I'm sorry.
Because
Because wouldn't it technically, well, didn't you say like an exact number is infinite after the decimal?
this is a measurement. I know it's a measurement because I have a volume there.
Oh, and those go to the 10th decimal.
No,
Okay.
no, Mila. It's a measurement. Whatever I used to make this measurement was only accurate to the, I only knew that it was accurate out to the hundredths. This 5 in 450 is an estimated digit. It's an estimated digit.
Honestly, I don't get that. I'm so sorry. I don't understand that.
Wait, so the 5 and 450 is estimated?
Yes. This, the
Is it
5
because you-
The 5 and
is
the
it because-
27.5 is estimated. Somebody was talking under me.
Hi, yes, it's me. Victoria. So because you can't really, I guess if you're like putting water in a beaker you're trying to get as close as you can to 450, so it's not an exact measurement, it's an estimated measurement?
Yeah. I may have measured this in a beaker, okay? The last line for that beaker was 400. The next line up was 500. And my meniscus was halfway between it. So in effect, I knew that I had more than 400, less than 500. And I had to estimate what the distance between the two was. I estimated that to be 450. This gets back to measurement. But the estimated digit is always going to be significant.
Okay.
So do we just ignore zeros then?
If you do not have a decimal point, yes.
Okay.
If you do not have a decimal, if I had a decimal point right here, instead of this answer being 480, it would be 478. Because my final answer was 477.5. If there was a decimal point, then this was precise to the units place. Therefore, my answer would have had to have been reported to the units place.
Okay.
So just to clarify, so if we were to round to the 0.1's place, we'd round up the decimal. Say like we'd round up 27.5 to 28, correct?
Again, Chase, if
It asks.
no, it's not if there, it asks, if the number you're adding to the 27.5 is accurate to the units place. In this instance, 450 is only accurate to the tens place. So I can only report out my final answer to the tens place. I can't get any more precise than that because this number says I can't do it.
Wait, sorry. I
Okay,
have a-
Professor, basically,
Come on.
so basically what you're saying is, I'm sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
You're good. No, you're good. You go.
So basically what you're saying is if there was a number, because 450 does not have a zero, a dot or a decimal.
Correct.
Now we're gonna round to whatever number before zero. So it
Not
could be
not before zero, to the tens place.
to the 10th place. Okay. So like if it was 450.00, then you would just add it and then the answer would be whatever the answer was.
Okay, let me give you that example. If it's 450.00, right? Am I limited by this number or am I limited by this one?
You're limited by the by whatever's after the decimal. right?
No, Chase.
It would be
You're
limited by the
27 then.
27.5.
Okay, let me put something on here, hopefully. Okay, what you're saying. God bless you.
Coronavirus.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
The problem you said was this one, right? Right, Chase?
Yes.
Okay, now. Somebody said it. Somebody yelled it out. I think it was Jennifer. Jennifer, did you say it?
Yes, you would do you would limit your answer to the 27.5.
Because, Chase, this number, your 450.00, is now more precise than the 27.5. The 27.5 only goes one place to the right of the decimal. The 450.00 goes two places. So we've switched this now, and now we're limited by the 27.5. So if I do this answer is 477.5.
Mm-hmm.
Are we good, Chase?
But because of that first number, that means it has to be to the 10th place.
Because the first number goes out further than the second number. The first number goes out to the right, goes past the decimal place more places than the second number does. Because of that, we're limited by the second number. The second number says, as far as I can go out is the 10th place. My answer has to be to the 10th place.
Okay, I'm sorry. So what if it wasn't 450 ml? What if it was just 45 ml? So what you're saying
If
is
it was 45, I'm going to switch this then. Right? Do you see, how far does this go? What place is the 5? Is it the units, tens, hundreds?
10.
No, the 5.
Luna,
The unit.
The
The
5 is in the units place, right? The 27.5 goes one more place to the right of the decimal. So the 27.5 is more precise than the 45. Because of that, I can't use any places past the decimal. This number would be,
So you would just keep it without a decimal then?
which is in reality 53.
Okay.
Questions, guys? I am really not lying when I tell you this. 90% of the points you have taken away in intro, Chem 1 and Chem 2 lab are due to these errors. 90%. I'm not lying about that.
Wouldn't that be 72.5?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Isn't it
73?
Hey, I did it in my head. Leave me alone.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Who said that first?
Me. Do I get extra credit for the correction?
Unless you don't tell me your name.
Well, I technically said it in my head. My head is Gaith, so I don't know.
Yeah, I said it out loud first. Chase said it out loud first.
Did you, Chase?
I don't know. I thought I said it.
Who's
I think as a class, we should all get extra credit for thinking about it.
I agree.
Which means because it doesn't put
Good
you
idea.
above anybody else, I can throw them all out.
I had the courage to say it.
Who was the courage?
Chase said it. Chase said it.
I'm trying to give somebody credit, guys. Guys, be honest.
I think Chase said it first.
All right,
He was
Chase.
the first green box
I'm
that
gonna
popped
go-
up for me.
That's the consensus. Chase, your last name.
Glenn.
You won this round, Chase.
He's won the battle, but he
Okay,
hasn't won the
Chase,
war.
Chase, what's your last name?
Glenn. G-L-E-N.
Thank you. Thank you, Chase.
Mhm.
There we go. All right.
This is unfair. My mic was technically not working at the time of the answer given.
Where did my share screen go? Did you lose the share screen, guys?
No, we can still see it.
I'm glad you can. I can't. That's going to make it rather difficult to teach this stuff.
That's tough.
Okay. Do we have this fair? Do we have a fairly solid ground on this?
Yes.
Guys, there are a ton. There are a ton of questions in the survivor guide based on this. Do the problems. All right. My rounding off, I'm going to be very, very simple. If the digit to be dropped, in other words, the digit to the right of the last significant figure is bigger than 5, round up. If it is less than 5, round down. Simple enough, guys. You may have another professor that does an odd even rule. Okay? God bless them. It's just a statistical thing that they use. Basically, you figure that half the time you're going to round up, half the time you're going to round up. It'll all come out in the wash. This is the simplest way for me to do it. If it's 5 or above, round up. If it's below 5, then just keep it the same. Okay. Are we seeing this in the big screen again?
Yes.
Yes.
Where might this come in? Where might this come in handy? You have 2 different measurements. You are using a 5 milliliter graduated cylinder where the marks, where the marks are 1 milliliter apiece. Then you're using 1/10 of a milliliter where there are 0.1 between each one. I use this cylinder and I'm able to measure my volume at 2.8. I measure this one, I'm able to measure it at 0.28. This one, yes, it's more accurate, but the bottom line for this is, because this one's more accurate, I can't magically take this one, mix it with this one, and then give this one more accuracy. That's what we're doing here. We're not doing magic here. We can't take the inaccurate one, or I'm sorry, we can't take the accurate one, mix it with the inaccurate one, and make the inaccurate one accurate. That's all we're saying here when we're doing these math problems. So if we're adding this with this number goes out one place to the right of the decimal place. This one goes out 2 places. I add the 2 together, I get 3.1 milliliters. I cannot call that 3.08 because that would be like using the more accurate one to give the less accurate one more accuracy.
Oh, excuse me.
Wait, yeah, oh, go ahead first.
What were the subscripts?
What are the subscripts?
Yeah, the exponents that were down there.
Subscripts, not exponents.
Sorry.
Beats the hell out of me. Oh. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what they are.
Wait, what subscripts?
The 2 and the 1 and the
Got it.
0.
What are y'all looking at? I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Thank you. Let's go on.
Roll it back for Gabe, man.
All right. I want to know how much length my eraser is. My forward mark is at, remember, by the measuring from last week, each one of these things counts as a tenth. There are 10 spaces between the 1 and the 2. 1 divided by 10 is 0.1. So each line is worth 0.1. This one is exactly at 1.00 because remember, I can estimate one more digit past what I know. This one is at 1.60. So I subtract 1.60 from the 1.00. My eraser has a length of 0.60 centimeters. Questions, guys? Remember, when we are dealing with exact numbers, do not figure into any significant figure calculations. Exact numbers will not tell you how many sig figs there are. Counting numbers or absolute conversions. Okay, if we're going to describe very, very small distances, by the way, we're done describing significant figures, thank God. Now we're going to get into scientific notation. When we're describing very, very small distances or very, very large numbers, it's convenient to use something called scientific notation. It's a technique. We crunch down this whole number to figure out what is absolutely significant. Of our significant number, we put one number to the left of the decimal point. Then we multiply that by 10 raised to an exponent. So if I'm looking at 93 million, 93 million has how many significant figures? Jennifer?
It has 2.
2 significant figures, the 9 and the 3. So those are the only ones I'm going to put into the scientific notation. Proper scientific notation dictates I only have one number past the decimal. So I'm going to write all the significant numbers, but only one of them is going to be past the decimal. So I get 9.3. Now, what would I have to multiply 9.3 by to get 93 million? I'd have to multiply it by 10 million. So I then crunch this 10 million I figure out what the exponent for the 10 is. And that is very easy to do because all I got to do is count the places. I move the decimal. If I move the decimal to the right, that number is positive. If I move the decimal to the left, that number is negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what this means is that 10 million is 10 raised to the 7th power. So to get the scientific notation, that is 9.3 times 10 raised to the 7th power. Any number can be raised, can be represented as the product. In other words, the multiplication of a number between 1 and 10 and a power of 10. The number has to have only one integer to the left of the decimal, and the power of 10 depends upon how many places you move to get it to that point and which direction you made the move. If I have 345, I record all my significant digits with only one to the left of the decimal point. So 345 becomes 3.45 times 10 raised to a power. The decimal place originally was to the right of the 5. I moved it 2 places over to convert 345 to 3.45. So moving it 2 places to the left, I have a positive number. So my scientific notation is 3.45 times 10 to the second.
Professor, I have a question.
I have an answer.
Okay, so they're gonna ask you questions like that, like where it's gonna be like just a whole number, like 345, and then they're gonna ask you to move it like to like I don't get it. Like I feel like if I look at this number as a whole, how would I know that I needed to move it 2 decimal places and then combine, you know, what times 10?
Okay. The rule is only one place past the decimal place, 1 place to the left of the decimal. So, I'm sorry, is this Gate?
Yes.
All right. So, in order to make 345 into a number that has only 1 digit to the left of the decimal place, I would have to move the decimal place is originally here, right, Gate? I would have to move it from to the right of the 5 to between the 4 and the 5. That's 1 place. Then I would have to move it again between the 4 and the 3 to make the number between 1 and 10. Do you understand that, Gate? Okay, I moved the decimal place 2 places. This means that my exponent on 10 is going to be 2. Since I moved it to the left, that number is going to be positive.
Okay, so my question is basically just a general rule of thumb when it comes to the scientific notation. We'll always have the number times 10 to the power of a number. Is that okay?
Correct? Correct. Okay. If I have 0.0671, in this case, I also moved it 2 places, but instead of moving it left, I moved it right. When I moved the decimal place to the right, that makes the exponent negative. So again, I have 6.71. I have put 1 digit to the left of the decimal. I've recorded all the other significant figures. Then I multiply it by 10 raised to a power. I move that decimal place 2 places to the right. That means it is negative. Now, there's also engineering format. I love engineering format. It makes a whole hell of a lot more sense, and it's easier to write. 10 to the x in the engineering format is replaced by a capital E. So if the scientific notation for 45,000 is 4.5 times 10 to the 4th, it can also be written as 4.5 E4. 0.00345 is in scientific notation 3.45 times 10 to the minus 3. That can also be written as 3.45 e to the negative third. Guys, I will be using this format in quizzes. I'm doing that because in order for me to write times 10 to the fourth, what I have to do is I have to put the number, an X, a 10, then I have to put a caret, and right after the caret is the exponent. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to read when it is in this form. So kind of get used to seeing it this way. Are we good, guys?
Yes.
7,882. We're going to go with Alec. You out there, Alec?
Yes, sir.
Alec, 7,882 in scientific notation. Which letter is it?
It's gonna be C.
You right? Yes, you are. Yay, cheers. The crowd goes crazy. Okay? Somebody that is sleeping right now. We'll try Hayden. Hayden, you awake?
Yes.
Did you just see the answer I mistakenly put up there?
No, I did not.
You're sleeping. Love it. Hayden.
Yes.
0.0000496 in scientific notation. Which number is it?
Would it be A?
It is indeed A.
Wait,
Okay.
if you don't mind, can you go back to that one real quick?
Okay.
Okay. So it's a -5 because I'm assuming the decimal. You're taking the decimal to the right, which turns it negative.
Yes, exactly. Exactly correct.
Okay, I see it. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Okay. On to dimensional analysis. Screen sharing has stopped, but not for long. Am I back up, guys?
Yes, sir.
So, I enjoyed this so much. I told you I have an English degree. This is my one chance to show my English ability and what I learned. Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. So it's brillig again, the slithy toes, did gyre and gimble in the wobby. Oh, mimsy were the borogoves, and the mommy wrasse out grabby. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub bird and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the maxim foe hath, sorry, I can't see.
I lost connection. We can't hear you, Professor.
Professor, you muted yourself.
I did it accidentally. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the maxim foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree and stood a while in thought. And as in oafish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through. The vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with his head he wet galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous joy, calloy calais. He chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wobby. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mommy wrasse out grabby. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 20 tum-tum trees in the tulgey wood. In each tulgey wood is one frumious bandersnatch. There are 5 slithy toves in 2 borogoves, and 2 mommy wrasse per Jabberwock. 2 jub bees in 200 tum-tum trees. There are 200 mommy wrasse in each borogrove. There are 5 jub birds for slithy toads.
This is Dr. Seuss.
It's the Jabberwock.
It's Alice in Wonderland.
Excuse me, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are your conversion factors. I'm giving you the problem. If you have 5 Frumious Bandersnatches, how many Jabberwocks should there be? So let's look. What does the problem give me?
5 Frumious Bandersnatches.
I got 5 Frumious Bandersnatches, right, guys? That's what I have. What do I want to know?
How many Jabberwocks?
How many Jabberwocks? So, do I have any relationship between Bandersnatches and something else?
The Togi wood.
Togi wood. So, in every Togi wood, there are 4 Frumious Bandersnatches. Says so right there. All right. I still don't have Jabberwocks. Do I have a relationship between Togi woods and something else?
Tum trees.
Okay. Do I have a relationship between tum-tum trees and something else?
The jub birds.
Do I have a relationship between jub birds and something else?
The slithy tove.
And do I have slithy toves with something else?
The borogoves.
And lastly, do I have something to relate to borogoves?
The mom rats.
Rats.
And now lastly, do I have something that relates mom rats to Jabberwocks?
Jabberwocks.
So guys, look at what I'm doing here. This absurdity that I've subjected you to. We can solve these absurd things that we have no idea what a Bandersnatch is, no idea what a slithy tove is, and yet we're able to use them to figure out that we can relate 5, what did I start with? Bandersnatches, 5 Bandersnatches with a Jabberwock. All I'm doing, guys, is I'm figuring out what the Bandersnatches relate to. In this case, there was 1 Togi wood for every 4 Bandersnatches. Now I have, if I multiply it by Togi wood over Bandersnatches, I've now crossed out the label. I then take the Togi woods, relate them to tum-tum trees. And what I've done is I've eliminated the Togi woods. I now have tum-tum trees. And I'm doing that as I go to the right here. Jub birds, slithy toves, borogoves, mommy rats, all of those cancel out. To the only label that I'm left with is the Jabberwock. Then, once I have done my map out, all I have to do is do the math. Take all these numbers that were in front of the labels, do all that math out, and I eventually get 32,000 over 16,000, and I get that 5 Frumious Bandersnatches are worth 2 Jabberwocks. I make this absurd example to show you it can be done with anything. All you need is what the problem starts with, what the problem ends with, and what the conversion factors are in between. Let's see a real example. The steps to the dimensional analysis. You got to figure out, you got to look at the problem. It's going to be a word problem, guys. You got to figure out in that word problem, what do you want to know? That's the first thing you're going to do. Second thing, you're going to look and say, something has to be given in the problem. You have to start somewhere. All we're doing is we're taking a path from what is given to what I want to know. Then you know some extra stuff. Either you know you have the conversions given to you, or you know it. You know 12 inches are in a foot. You know 60 seconds in a minute. So you either know it or you have these conversions given. Next thing you're going to do is map out the solution. You're going to take those labels, make sure all the labels cross out. Then you're going to put the numbers in. You're going to establish what those conversions are. And the last thing, do the math. These problems really are not that hard. You just have to follow a set pattern. Let's talk about money. Actually, one of these nice gentlemen was the one that followed me back to the bus that was trying to get me to pay twice as much for the t-shirt as he sold it to me for. $1 American is worth 128 Algerian dinars. A street urchin in the Casbah offered you a t-shirt for 6,400 dinars. Is that a good deal? Okay. Zaina, you in here, Zaina?
Yeah.
Okay, look at this problem. What do you want to know?
If it's worth it for a t-shirt.
How are you going to figure out if it's worth it?
I'm gonna divide 6,400 by 128.
What do you want to know?
If
Don't
it's
you
a
want to
good
know?
deal.
Yeah, but how do you know it's a good deal?
I'm gonna compare it to how much I think a good t-shirt price is.
So you need to find out the dollars, right?
Yeah.
So the dollars is what you need to figure out. That's going to go on the right side of your equal sign. What do you know, Zaina? What's the problem give you?
How much $1 American is to compare to the Algerian.
Okay, it gives you a conversion, but does the problem give you something else?
A t-shirt for 6,400.
6,400 dinars. So that's where we start. We know the dollars. We want to know the dollars. We're going to put that on the right side of the equal sign. What's given? The kid's offering a t-shirt at 6,400 dinars. So I'm going to put that at the far left. So I have 6,400 dinars somehow equals some amount of dollars. All right. I also have a conversion factor. I have the conversion factor of dinars to dollars, 6,400 to 1. So I'm going to map out my solution. I want to end up with dollars. If I want to end up with dollars, then I'm going to put dollars on the numerator side of the fraction. If I want to get rid of dinars, I'm going to put that on the denominator side of the fraction. So I've got dollars over dinars. Now I'm going to plug in my conversion numbers. So my conversion is 128 dinars per dollar. I do this math out, dinars cancel. The only label I'm left with is dollars. So I do the math, I divide the 6,400 by 128. Zainab, would you have gotten a deal?
No.
This is all conversion of money and these type of things. Does this kind of make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, I'm breaking this down to its basics, but some of the people aren't getting this. Why do I feel like I'm like in an interrogation room? I'll be right back.
Must be the hat.
No, it's because it's all black with one light shining on his face.
He's in the
Yeah,
witness
Give us the
protection
answers.
program.
What's that?
He's in the witness protection program with all the dark lighting.
Hey, don't forget the hat and the glasses and all.
Hmm.
Are you really Mr. Popovich?
I can't say.
All you're missing is a trench coat.
I'm sorry, my rep won't let me do that. Okay, we're going to take this problem with money one step further. You're in a market and you want to buy oranges. Okay? You have $16.40 in your pocket. If an orange weighs 0.60 pounds and they cost $1.50 per pound, how many oranges can you buy? Terry, what do I want to know?
How many oranges can we afford?
Okay, I want to know how many oranges. That goes on the right side of the equal sign. Okay? Cash, you out there, Cash?
Yes.
What do I want? This orange number of oranges is what I want to know. What do I know?
That you have $16.40.
I have $16.40. That's the money I have. I also know, as other information, the price per pound and the number of oranges per pound. So I start with my $16.40. Okay? Now I got conversions. I got 0.75 pounds per orange. That's wrong. I changed that to 0.60.
0.6.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
0.60.
Yes, I know. I changed that because it made the math a little more interesting is why I did it. But I didn't change this slide.
Objection.
So I have other things. So I got to map out my solution. If I'm starting with dollars and I know the amount of pounds per dollar, I want to get rid of dollars and I want to keep pounds. So dollars goes on the bottom. That way it cancels out. I have pounds. Now I also have a relationship between pounds and oranges. So in this case, I want to get rid of pounds, leave oranges, which is what my final answer is. Put in my conversions. There are $1.50 per pound, and there's 0.46. Each orange weighs 0.60 pounds. Now, last thing, I'm going to do the math. And what this works out to is if I do the rough math, it works out to be 18.2. No self-righteous fruit seller is going to sell you 0.2 of an orange. So the answer is 18. Questions about this, guys? Is this procedure making sense to you?
Yeah, but I do have a question. I know you had like office hours in the beginning, but I'm gonna be real honest with you. I guessed one of the questions, and I somehow got it right on the quiz. It was the one where it was like a quarter weighs 0.0316. How many grams? Hi, dog. How many grams do you need to get $10.16 worth? And I was just like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Victoria, are you in lab tonight?
Yes.
Then you're going to ask me that question after lab tonight, okay?
You got it.
I will be happy to go through the solution, but have to wait there. I've got 10 minutes or so to finish this up.
Okay.
All right.
Professor, I just have a question on that problem. I mean, I know it's like it's a basic problem, basically. But the way you wrote it out kind of a bit confused me though. Because I mean, like in general, we can guess the answer, going different methods. The way you wrote
that was the key. That was the key. You just said you guessed the answer. I'm not guessing anything here, Kate.
Oh, I meant like correct. I understand. But what I was trying to say is when you utilize this specific formula, let's say, it kind of threw me off. Even though like it is a basic equation, it's just I didn't get it. Like, 16.
Do you remember, Gate? Do you remember one of the first comments I made the first day of class? I said, I don't care. I really don't care how you get your understanding of the material. If you find another professor is able to explain this stuff a lot better and you can use their method and get the right answer, I don't care. What I do care about is you getting the right answer. Whether it has to come from me or somebody else, that's fine thing. What I'm showing you is one method that I know works. Okay, Kate? Try it. That's all I'm asking you to do. Try it. If after a while you find it's not giving you the right answers, ditch it and go somewhere else. All I can ask is that you try it.
Okay, so how did you get 18 oranges again? So you said if
okay. Do you see this? Do you see the screen that's up there? Do you see the screen that's up there?
Sure.
Okay. Right now, I took $16.40, and I know the relationship between dollars and pounds. Okay. So what I did was I put the label pounds on top, dollars on the bottom. Okay. But I also have another relationship. I also have the relationship between one orange weighs 0.60 pounds. So I'm going to arrange that relationship so I've got my label pounds on the bottom, so it cancels out the pounds in the other fraction. The dollars cancels out that. The only label that is left in this is oranges. Now, the next step, I take all these numbers, 16.40 times 1 times 1, divide that by 1.50 times 0.6. And what happened is I do that division out, I get 18.2. And again, no grocer is going to sell you 0.2 of an orange. So you have the ability to buy 18 oranges. Does that make a little more sense, Gabe?
Yes. Thank you.
My house has a backyard that measures 100 feet by 500 feet. What is the area in square meters? What do I want to know, Victoria?
One second, sorry. You want to know the area in square meters.
So that's going to go on the right side of my equal sign. Where am I starting, Victoria? What information am I given?
The backyard that measures 100 feet times 500 feet. So.
Do you have any other knowledge?
Of how to get the area in square meters? I don't know the equation off the top of my head.
Come on, you have a rectangle. How do you get the area of a rectangle?
Is it like length times width?
Length times width. So no, there's no height. There's no height in area, Victoria.
You're gonna get, yeah. Huh.
So the information that you already know is that you know that you want the area and you know the original measurement. So you know to get the area of this measurement, you're going to have to multiply the two of them together. So my meters goes on the right side of my equal sign. I know how to get my area, so I'm going to take the 100 feet, multiply that by 500 feet. That ends up being 50,000 square feet. So I know that 50,000 square feet, I want to know how many meters squared that equals. Okay, do I have any information that will help me?
General knowledge.
What's your general knowledge, Mila?
I don't know, but
you don't know?
Couldn't you look up the square feet conversion to square meters?
Guys,
like get your answer.
To be honest with you, that would be a very, very good conversion. You go onto your computer, you type it in, but unfortunately, Mr. Popovich is not going to be that easy for you.
Wait, Professor.
Okay, what?
Can you go back to that slide? How did you get 10 to the 4? I thought it was, I'm confused on that answer.
100 times 500 is 50,000.
Oh, okay.
50,000 is 5.00 times 10 to the 4th. And you notice because these are decimals, that my scientific notion has 3 significant figures in it. Okay? I want to get through this for one specific reason. I want to get through this problem. So, conversion factors. Either you know it, it's given to you, or you can look it up. Mila had a great answer. You go ahead and you Google the conversion between feet squared and meters squared. That works. But if you know the 12 inches equals 1 foot, and you can look up conversion between inches 2 meters. If you look that up, that ends up being 39.37 inches. So right now I have 2 conversions. I have 12 inches equals 1 foot, and I have 39.37 inches equals 1 meter. So I'm going to plug this into my problem. I have feet here. Are feet going to go on the top or bottom? Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you out there? Okay. Kevin, you out there, Kevin?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, if I want to get rid of feet, are feet going to go on the bottom of the equation, or are they going to go on the top of my fraction that I'm multiplying this by?
She
think
doesn't.
her mic is not working
Mike's
again.
not working.
Okay.
In the chat.
All right, somebody answer. We got to get through this.
Bottom.
Bottom. Okay, but you got to be careful about that. What is this? This is feet squared. What are feet squared? Feet times feet, right? So if I only do that conversion once, I only cancel one of the feet. I have to do that conversion twice. I have to put inches over feet, and I also have to do it again, because if I only do the first one, it only cancels one of the feet. I have to do both of these to cancel feet squared. Similarly, I have inches squared. I have to multiply it by meters over inches twice in order to get the label correct. So, again, I'm not doing anything different. There are just a few slides that if you want to look through them, go for it. I started off with 50,000 square feet. I know that there are 12 inches to 1 foot, but I have to do it twice because this is feet squared. I have to do meters per inches twice because these are inches squared now. So I've mapped out my solution. All the labels canceled. So I know that my answer is going to end up in meters squared. So I take 50,000, multiply it by 12, multiply it by 12 again, divide it by 39.7 times 39.37, and I have my answer. Work on dimensional analysis problems. There should be some in the homework. If not this homework, then the next one. Work on them. You're going to need to be able to do this. Okay, I am a minute or two past. I can only answer quick questions. If not, you're going to have to wait until Thursday. Go for it.
Where can we find the homework? Because that I'm not understanding.
Homework, the MyLab and Mastering homework. Mila?
What is it?
The MyLab and Mastering homework.
Okay.
You have to buy a code for that, Mila.
Okay.
Homepage, very bottom of the homepage.
Yeah, Pearson.
Is the Pearson ad. Click on that, and they should be able to lead you through buying a code.
Perfect. Thank you.
There's also, Mila, there's also Survivor Guide homework. In the back of your Survivor Guide, there's homework, and I have extra problems within my courses.
Are the extra problems worth any extra credit?
No.
Okay.
All right, quickly, I got to do roster. Omar. Omar.
Omar's here.
Was that Omar answering? Guys, I know how to check this up. Zoom allows me to check who's in the meeting. Lewis. Lewis.
Here.
Christina.
Here.
Gate was here. Zaina was here. Curtis. Curtis.
I'm here too.
Terry was here. I saw him. Apple
No,
Grace.
I'm Omar.
I got you, Omar. Apple Grace was here. Hunter, I saw. Judania. Judania.
Yeah.
Chase was here.
Yep.
Daviana.
Here.
Landre. Landre.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Armithia, I saw pop in.
Yeah.
Neela.
I'm here.
Caitlin, I saw. Aya, I asked a question. Elizabeth, I caught. Kevin. Kevin? Mr. Kokomore. Shamira, I saw.
Kevin said
he's here, but his mic's not working.
Okay, guys, I'm going to check these. Mariah.
Here.
Aaron, I saw. Rosina, I saw.
Yes, I'm here.
Andrew Melick, I saw. Katie.
I'm here.
Cash. Hayden answered a question. Faith was there. Mila was there. Jennifer was there. Alec answered a question. Brian. Brian Reeves. Helen. Helen.
Ryan said his microphone isn't working either.
Yeah, it's amazing, this flu that's going through the microphones. Helen. Helen Sanchez. Kevin, I see you. Do see you, Kevin. Helen Sanchez. Spencer.
Here.
And Victoria, I saw. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you later. Any other, questions? Questions?
When is it, the next class? The lab starts at 7:30, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, yes, it starts
I
at
have a question.
7:30. Question, answer.
Just correct. I just want to see for this class, like 1025, all we have for the near future is the actual hunt, quiz 3, homework 2, and homework 3. Right?
Okay, Hunter, you have homework 1 is due on Thursday.
Yeah, I got that.
You have quiz 3, I believe, is due Thursday. You have the survivor guide thing, or the survivor hunt. You have that discussion on Sunday. I will set out a new list. It's confusing enough for me to keep this week straight. I send an announcement every Sunday on what's due that subsequent week. Any other questions, guys?
So basically, we had one homework that was due, I think, yesterday or today, and then we have another one that's due on the 21st, right? That's still homework.
Yes. It's the way it goes. The first one is an extra credit one, and you had over a week to do them. Questions, guys? About anything I've gone through or any procedural things? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, happy to see you. Hope to see you again on Thursday.
Have a nice evening. See you.
You
Thursday.
too.
You're gonna send out the link for the lab, correct?
The links for the lab. Yes, yes.
I mean the email. Sorry, the email.
Yes, yes. I will send you an email with the links.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you, Mr. P, for being patient with us and answering all our questions.
Thank you.
You know, it's not a
Thank
matter
you.
of it's not really the patience, it's the time. You know, it's just a quick turnaround between this and the next class. That's all. So if I'm being a little abrupt, I apologize.
No problem. Take care.
Take care, guys. Elizabeth, you haven't bothered me as much this week.
Thank you.
Take care, Marie. Elizabeth, goodbye.